What is up, guys? So Raven here with another comic book review. Today we're going to be reviewing, well, I finally got my hands on it because I was excited, the whole, especially like since I've watched it in the Comic Book Palace series, how Glenn and, the Brown Alex and a few others were like excited about the whole series. Of course, kind of shame that Comic Book Palace is not anymore. Hopefully it's going to be back. But I was like, you know what, well, the trade paperback is a bit expensive right now, so maybe I'm going to wait for later. And actually, it's December, and there was a December sale. So I've got myself a Gideon Falls, volume number 1, The Black Bard. And I literally just finished it. It came this morning, and I just finished it. It's literally, 2 hours since it came to me. So I'm super happy and super excited, because I was like, you know what? Yeah, it's for $2. Why not? Let's just take it. Let's see how it goes. I can always, sell later on eBay if I don't like it. And this is... I know that this book came out in 2018, but this is the best book I've read this year. Period. This is the book of... Still, I think you can pick it up, years to come, and this is going to be one of the best reads you're going to have if you like this type of genre. So, of course, Gideon Falls is kind of a horror story. That's how they say it, right? And, like, I'm looking at the back here, right? That's how it looks in the back. Of course, the spine. It is kind of, a horror tale. I think it's going to be more horror-ish coming to volume number 2 and 3. I know the series wrapped up, but hey, I'm just coming back to it, right? So, super cool one. Again, we've got Jeff Lemire, Andrea Sorrentino, and Dave Stewart on this book. And let's start with, let's start with the good things about the book. Before we're gonna do story page by page, I think the art is just gorgeous. It just shows that traumas, that all those really weird things. Just look at that art. It's absolutely amazing. I'm not gonna go maybe page by page because I don't want to spoil a lot of things that I think are going to be cool, especially coming to the end of this trade paperback. I don't want to spoil a lot of that, but the whole idea is quite simple. We kick off, the whole story with... I'm gonna be aiding myself. We kick off with someone, hunting for garbage, and he's hunting for weird pieces. Like this is, kind of a nail, and he's hunting, for those garbage. For those things in garbage, and he's like, yeah, I'm gonna collect them. Great. Then we cut off to, of course, one of the pastors. His name is Fred, and he's being moved by Bishop to another town because of what he did in the past, he was heavily drinking, he was probably beat up someone, so, they just moving him to the different town, so he can actually, stay there, because he was for some time, actually teaching in the seminary, but it's like, yeah, you know what, there is the God wants you there in the Gideon Falls, right? That is the city name, and of course the title, so we know kind of how it is, because their priest, he died, and that priest was Tom. That's what we know at that time. So we see, the priest Fred driving in, right? He's coming, he sees a kid lighting a cigarette, just leaning back of the bus, and he gives him this smirk, and he just drops and he goes oh god, there we go, right, here we go. So he drives into the church, right? He's greeted by one of the female helpers from previous priest, and she was like, oh, you're the new priest, right? He's like, oh, what gave me away, right? It's kind of jokingly. But she takes it to seriously, no, it's okay, and he is like, well, thank you for all your help, because she keeps trying, hey, you maybe need this, maybe you need that, maybe this, maybe that, because no, it's all good, I just need the rest, there's a sermon I have to write, in 2 days, I have to accommodate here, okay, but before you go, how did the priest Tom died? And she goes I can't tell you, sorry, it's too personal. He was a father figure to me, so I can't, no, sorry. And he was yeah, no, it's okay, sure, go. So that's where we end that part. we go back to that gentleman that actually was hunting in the trash, and his name is Norton, and we find him when he is actually sitting, at the chair on this psychiatrist, and he has this, psychiatrist therapy session with the Zhu Lang. I believe Zhu is her name. Let me just triple check, because that's her name. Her name is actually Zhu, right? She's Doctor Zhu, exactly, Dr. Zhu, right? That's of course that panel. He is right here, and he's wearing a mask, like kind of like right now for COVID, right? And she goes like, so we've had some breaks. It's doing good. We let you out of course, our psychiatrist, but if if you're gonna be mentally, again, like do weird things and keep looking for this trash, we're gonna have to get you back here for observation. It's great that you have your own place, but you were making such a progress, let's not wait. And he goes like, no, I know it. I know why am I searching for those pieces. I know why this is happening. And she was like, yeah, listen, you were making progress. You don't want to go back to that thing. And he goes like, all right, whatever, fine, I'm gonna, do that therapy with you. It's all good, as long as I can do my own things at my home. And he leaves, and we see him leaving. He walks by a nail that's kind of like twisted, but like an old nail, like it's like how old nail looks like. It's and he stops and he picks it up, and he goes back to his apartment, where he stores all of those little pieces that he finds around the town in the trash. And he stores them in the jars. He puts labels on them where he found it, where, like, he has the map and everything. And he tries to, you can tell kind of that he tries to put it together. But before we're able to figure out, did he found it out what it's all about, we go back to, of course, the priest. And the priest, it's night, he's sleeping, and someone is telling him to wake up. Super weird. When I was like, wake up, like, oh no. And what tells him to wake up is actually the old priest, the father. And look at the art, gorgeous art. And he's sitting in like this weird position, and like, this is the art that can give you chills. And he goes like, you have to go with me before he knows I've escaped. And he goes like, wait, what? So he's not shocked that he sees like a dead guy. He's like, all right, I'm gonna go. So he goes onto this cornfield, and he finds the barn, the titled barn. There's like nice, really blood red background, and the barn is all black. He finds that, and before he can do anything, he looks right, and there goes this helper, right? This female assistant that actually found him, that actually greeted him to the city, and she's being killed. She's murdered, right? He goes back up, no barn, it disappeared, and he is taken by the police. Right, so you kind of know where this is going, right? There is this kind of big, so of course this is the barn that he saw. Right, then we cut to the issue number 2, and in the park, the zoo goes with Norton. They are walking around. They're like, hey, like, it's cool, life is great, everything is fine. And he goes like, yeah, I can't tell you why this is happening, but it's okay, I'm getting better, it's cool, I'm getting better. And then he sees trash. He goes like, you see, I have the urge to dig and to maybe find this piece. And she goes like, why? And he goes like, I can't tell you, because then you're going to be in danger. And she's like, no, let's make a deal. I'll let you do that, but you'll tell me why you're doing that. So he digs, and well, he says that was a false alarm. And he says like, okay, listen, I'm going to put you in danger, unfortunately, but I've been seeing this barn, and all those pieces that I've been collecting, those are the pieces of the barn. That's what I believe. Because the topography kind of matches up, what they are, right? Like nails, like little, wood pieces. So, about glass, right? From like windows. Like, this is kind of what I've been finding. And she was like, yeah, barn. Like, come on, is that the barn that you saw as a kid? I was like, yeah, that's what I saw as a kid, in my dreams. Because we learned that actually Norton was found by police just there, you know. He had no recollection of his past. He got, you know, taken to the orphanage, and yeah, I have my theory on that. But again, you know, I don't want to spoil that, so I'm probably gonna move whenever I'm gonna read the volume number 2. So we cut back to, of course, Fred, right, our priest. He's being interrogated, and well, he's being interrogated by, let me find the name of her. Was her Rebbe, and she was Rebbe. She looks at him and she goes like, "That is," I quote, "your story, quite frankly, it's full of bullshit, father," and she really does not believe him. And we learn that what happened, why he was moved to the Gideon Falls, like why he was moved from the other churches, right? So again, he had a drinking problems, he drank a lot, he was a party maker, and we're like, okay, there was another killing, because they are thinking that he killed, of course, that lady, but there was another killing, there's another body, so that can't be him. So they go, okay, you're gonna go to the cell, and we're gonna check that stuff out. And as he's going to the cell, he calls Bishop, like, hey, Bishop, like, I'm in deep shit, like, what is going on? He goes like, but you're okay. He's like, yeah, but like, I need a lawyer. He's like, no, you don't. It's like, what are you talking about? You are exactly where God wants you to be. Stay vigilant. Clank. He's like, why? What? And one of the officers is like, well, Sir Rod, I believe. He goes like, hey, listen, I can't tell you, but you have to see the doctor, Dr. Sutton, and he might, you know, help you out, because they're gonna like, you know, it's like a super secret thing to do. He's like, okay, well, whatever, maybe one day I'll figure that out, right? And well, as we cut to Norton is slowly coming home, right? And Norton found out that someone broke into his house and stole some pieces of that barn, presumably the barn, and he rushes to the zoo, right? He rushes to that clinic where, you know, to see her. He like rushes in and goes like, someone was been there, like someone stole my shit, like what is happening? He's like, stop, go home, like why would you even, like, leave me, alright? I'm gonna have to put you back here in the hospital, and you're gonna lose probably everything, you know, next morning, so you just better go home, you know? Because like, alright, screw you, I'm going home, like kind of Cartman style. And as this is happening, we've got, of course, cut to the sheriffs that are actually going and trying to find out, like, that body, right? And that body turns out, again, right over here. We got all those squares throughout the book. Like, I have a theory why they are here. So like those little red squares, I don't know if you can see, there you go, you can clearly see. And that is, you know, that is the dead body of that is a dead body of Fred, of Tom, the priest that supposedly be dead 2 weeks ago. Which is really weird, because they say, like, the body's fresh, so he probably killed that lady, and he is holding in his hand a nail that looks exactly like the nails that Norton is collecting. So we go to, of course, our Zoo. Zoo goes back home after a day of work, and she sees, all of a sudden, the barn, and she's scared. She sees it right there, and she's super scared. She's like, what just happened? I was walking home, and now, like, I see red, and there's a barn, and there's like, what in the world is up? So the Fred, the priest, tries to write a sermon. Police officer comes to him. She goes like, yeah, I'm sorry, you know, you're free of charge, nothing is happening. And she's like, yeah, no worry, it's all good, great. Hopefully I will be able to write that sermon. And well, because someone broke into Norton's flat, he is paranoid, and now he prepared all these traps. And those are all the traps he prepared. There's like trap doors, you know, all of kinds of weird stuff. And as he prepared it and he's waiting, someone is knocking at the door, and that is actually Zoo. And the Zoo tells him like, hey, there's this fucked up thing that happened. I saw that barn. Why you've told me that? And she was like, yeah, I saw it. And she's like, oh, do you believe me now? She's like, no. No, it was just, I'm hallucinating. And so it's a Sunday, so we got a sermon. And for the first time, we see, of course, Fred doing a sermon. And he has no notes, right? You can see there's no notes. And he's just trying to be honest. And he's trying to tell everything, like what he just feels, because they know that that priest killed that girl. And yeah, it's not really good for everyone. So the sermon has ended, and because I'm looking at it here, the sermon has ended, and of course we've got that guy that he saw at the very first thing, that he was coming to the city, like the one that's smoking, laying back at the bus. He is the bus driver. And he goes like, oh, I've enjoyed your sermon. It was refreshing. It was honest. It was great. You should visit me and Janet. You should visit our house. It's going to be great. You should visit. Oh, like that was too obvious. Because like they even emphasis on the really. And we've got another square. And again, reading it now, like looking at it now after I've read, I'm like, because I had no idea what they are. And I have feeling, but not really. So we've got Zoo not believing actually that Norton, like not believing what Norton sees. She's not believing in that barn. And the priest actually finds letters. And the letters are some things that, hey, there was a missing child. There was like something with the barn. So there are clues, there are newspapers about the barn, that something like a black barn was happening. But no one knows why. So he goes back to the Saturn. He goes for the first time to the Saturn, and this is the guy that the doctor that police officer told him about. So he goes there, he checks out his flat, and they keep talking. He lays down like all of his knowledge, and he goes like, "Listen, that is kind of real. That is what is happening. There were like many instances of people like getting killed or like they saw that. It's really weird thing." He goes like, well, I don't believe in that. So the priest, even though he saw that, he does not believe. Of course, it goes into this huge conversation about it, and like, priest is pissed, like, I don't believe, I'm just gonna go, like, screw you, like, you have like a secret society now, called, oh, where is it? Wait, let me just, called Plowman, right? It's like, yeah, you better plow, like, you, come on, mate, like, those are the first, people that saw the bar in 1796, it was like, yeah, you better do it, like, I don't care, I'm just leaving. So he leaves, and we've got actually Zoo reading the case file of Norton. So we learned that, as I said, no one knows where he came from, he was just, like, found at the age of 5, in the city, and they took him to orphanage, and he was diagnosed with severe depression, anxiety, and early signs of schizophrenia. So she's like, okay, I'm done. I'm just gonna go, and I'm just going to like wash my head. And as this is happening, she sees the black barn again, but this time. And now I see it, because, again, rereading that, I'm, like, looking at it right now. So, she sees through the mirror what is inside some kind of a barn, right? And we see the guy, and she screams, no. And we see some kind of a guy here with the ammo on the bench. We don't know who that is. We will know at the very end of course, this book, and we have this beautiful splash over here that her mind is shattering, and this is the moment where she slowly begins to figure it out. So I don't think I'm gonna like go super deep what is happening in the last issue, I because it's really cool. I just want to say this, let me go here. So they find, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what happens to the Fred, because I think this is just a great read and it's too much spoilers. But it turns out that in the city that Norton lives, there is a place like that where there is a barn. There was supposed to be a barn. You can see that rectangular shape. And Norton says, we gotta rebuild it. We gotta redo the whole thing. And well, it might kill us, but let's just do it. So you know they're gonna embark on that adventure to find all those little bits and pieces to find that barn. And in this book we are inside the barn. We know exactly what is happening kind of inside the barn, but it's so fucked up that it's really hard to tell. And it's a huge spoiler if someone wants to read it even now. So what I enjoyed about this book, this story is just great. There are no slow points. There is nothing that I'm like mad that they've put. I'm mad it's over. I'm mad that I have to go and buy like four more volumes because there's 5 volumes. So far, it's great. If you were looking for a horror, I think this is just a build-up to what's going to be, because there's a few like horror-esque elements, but definitely this is not a full-fledged horror book. Okay, so you gotta be prepared for that. This is like a prelude to what can happen. And this whole idea, and I like the idea of that barn just appearing, disappearing, appearing, disappearing, and just messing up with people. That there's evil, there's just something that twists people, and of course there is this Norton character. I think at the end of the book you will kind of have the same thing, the same thoughts about Norton, who he is, because like everything kind of lines up, right? But I don't want to tell you that right now. And those squares, I figured kind of out that those squares that are like there, they might be the doors to the barn, because we've got that many times. And they're kind of like foreshadowing what might happen many times. So that is amazing. The art, my goodness. I mean, I'm not usually a fan of that type of art. I'm more a fan of this, like, DC style, like, you've got a Greg Capullo, right? I like that art. But this, I mean, when we're getting pages like that, again, I can just open, and you're not gonna wait. Whatever page I'm gonna open, because I don't want to spoil. Because I've opened on that a few times. Like, let's just go for a splash. We got pages like that, just working, right? You gotta work your way. This is the one where, of course, someone broke into his house. Wait, by the way, do we know? No. Okay, so I have no idea who that guy is, but that's the guy that actually got probably into his apartment. So the art is actually pretty good. That art right here. Just absolutely, I mean, of course, this is, the place after the barn. So there are signs of that. And the storytelling, my goodness, it's great. And if you can get it for super cheap like I did, because again, December sale, $2. I mean, who would say no to a $2 book, right? And it turns out that it's great. So I've been missing on a lot of Image Comics stuff. Like I know Ice Cream Man and like a few other things. But this kind of opens my horizon for that, Image. I'm not gonna go to crossover, because I feel like sometimes Donny Cates is a bit overhyped, and he's overhyping stuff all the time, right? But I do have a feeling, that Image will have a lot of good books in the future and coming up, and I can't wait to read another one. This is a book that for me, out of nowhere, it's 10 out of 10. There is nothing bad that I can say about this book. But on the other side, if you are looking for a pure horror, yeah, you gotta wait, right? You have to keep in mind that this is a build-up. This is like, again, 5 chapters, there are 5 volumes. So this one is just to build up. This is to put this like seeds of what is about to come. That's how I feel about it. So if I would be looking for a super like hardcore horror, yeah, 1 out of 10. But if you treat it as a build up to something and you want to learn the backstory, and you're willing to do that extra work and get into, you will get sucked in and you will love the whole thing. So 10 out of 10, amazing book. I just can't say anything bad. I can't. I want to, but I can't. And I think, again, just like the Wolverine book, that is the 10 out of 10 book for me. When you can't say anything, I can't find it. With the first read, I can't find, and I want to read it again. And even like right now, when I was like going through, I was like, oh, there are things I've seen, and now Okay, now I see this. Oh, right. I want to reread it, and that is the 10 out of 10 book. So thank you guys so much for this review of the Gideon Falls volume number 1, The Black Barn. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. If you didn't, sorry, but hey, thank you guys so much for watching till the very end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos like that, for more reviews of the comic books, and hopefully King in Black we're gonna start slowly this week. So thank you guys so much. Goodbye, good night, have a fantastic rest of the day. Take care, bye.